So I wanted to do a life update, and there's a lot going on in my world and a lot that isn't. And I've been notably off of estrogen for a year now, and I've been taking low dose testosterone. And before you ask, why would you do that? I was having basically bad reactions to estrogen, essentially hot flashes and brain fog and overheating issues. And being off of estrogen actually helps my body thermoregulate, and my physical health has been significantly better, although I can't say that my mental health has particularly gotten better necessarily, but all things are connected, and the more time I spend off of social media, the better that I feel. So I don't really feel stressed to make a lot of content these days. I think that's not really a priority in my life, nor do I see that things sort of are elevated in my life when I make content. I just think that staring at a screen and talking doesn't really do much for me. I'd rather just talk to real people. I'd rather just be in nature. In any case, kind of moving off course here, I was having health issues physically with estrogen, and then I've been off of it, and I've been taking topical testosterone, and that's a really radical shift for someone who identified as a trans woman for a long time. I think I've been just using all pronouns these days with a preference for they, them. I still feel that my femininity is incorporated into my identity, and I still feel um, her and she and that. But I also feel that my gender identity does not have to be so forcibly rooted in just one thing, where I feel like there's a multitude of occurrences when it comes to how I see myself. It's like a Venn diagram, and I think everyone has masculinity, femininity, and even neutral aspects of their social construct by which they refer to themselves as, and that might even differ to how they want to represent themselves socially. In any case, yes, I use all pronouns. I've been off of estrogen, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I feel less feminine. I think it occurs less frequently. I think hormones are very powerful, and they fundamentally alter how we perceive reality, which is one of the massive things about one transitioning from one gender to another. There's been a lot of life stuff. There's been partners. There's been voices, which I deal with. Sometimes it's a lot worse, and then sometimes it's not so bad. Today and yesterday, I can really kind of notice them, and sometimes I do kind of like drift off into space. But overall, I feel like I'm doing my best with my health, and I kind of got like the flu or some super bug. It could have been COVID, although I never tested positive for it, like in November, and that really knocked me out for a couple months. And I wrote a song called Sick, or I'm so sick of being sick, or whatever, and enjoyed that. But I do think that maybe I should engage with my platforms more. I changed my handles to Sarai Indifada, emphasis on the indie, because that is loosely what I play. And I'm not going to go too in depth about it, but one might speculate what that means. But yeah, I think the world's going to shit, and we have to do our best to navigate these things and connect and feel rooted. And I think I try to spend a lot of time in nature as much as possible. Sometimes literally touching trees, putting my hands on the dirt, and literally touching grass. I think, although grass is like my least favorable thing to touch. You know what I mean? I'd rather touch tree, so to speak, and not smoke it, because I know some of you are on that wavelength. But yeah, I'll be turning 32 in a month or so, and I think things are just fundamentally different, and I feel no need to sort of confine myself to one feminine aspect of my identity, because I also see my masculinity, and mostly I just feel sort of neutral about it. Um, I've written a lot of songs. A lot of songs I just don't feel compelled to share on YouTube. But I thought I just might do this little life update and tell you about this fundamental shift that's been going on, which is that I've essentially been off of estrogen, and that I'm taking a low dose testosterone, and that is going to change how I look and change how I interact with the world slightly. Um, but I just kind of like to wear whatever. Like, this shirt is kind of a joke and makes me laugh, so I like to wear this one. But I don't think people are really defined by what they wear. I think it's just really internal, but how we perceive ourselves is altered by our wardrobe and stuff like that. So it's interesting to play with one's gender, and I even got like FFS and whatever. I don't I just don't care. I just want to exist and be, and honestly, in this day and age, survive. And I hope people are doing well. I'm kind of recovering from a cold, so I feel a little bit of congestion. But that's just kind of a life update, and I don't know if you've been following me for a bit. Let me know how you're doing down below. Leave a like, comment, and if I'm new on your page and you feel compelled to watch me say anything ever, then leave a subscribe or whatever. Leave a subscribe. That's exactly what people say. All right, peace.